Up.
Okay, looks like we're good. And it does look like we're recording.
Okay. Welcome. If you're just logging on, we're going to wait about 30 more seconds before we get started. All right. Well, welcome to the first time AP class taker meeting. That's not the official title, but if you're a student, if you're a parent, and you're considering taking an AP class for the first time, or you've taken an AP class before and just need some more things to think about when deciding if it's the right fit for you for next year, then this is a good place to be. So I am Erica Searles. I'm one of the counselors. We also have Jason Kubo and Laura Sandora here. We'll be hearing from them as well. And we will have time for question and answer. You can put questions in the Q&A and upvote if you feel like, if you see a question that's already written and you agree that we should answer that, be sure to upvote it. And then we'll have some frequently asked questions at the end and have time to answer your questions. All right. So tonight, we're basically just going to go through what an AP class is. What does AP mean? What does it stand for? What some expectations are if you're a student in that class, and then concerns we hear as counselors from students and parents. A lot having to do with health, wellness, balance, looking at your schedule, making sure you have the time and energy to take on an AP class. Supports we have at school, and then some next steps. So an AP class it's a college level course. So it's not an actual college course, it's a high school class, but it's college level. So some colleges will even accept AP credit for some of their introductory college classes. And the curriculum's all developed through College Board, so same people that make the SAT, they make the AP program, and they deliver the AP tests. The AP test usually happens in May. It's scored 1 through 5, and I mentioned earlier that some colleges take the AP class or score to fulfill some of their introductory requirements once the kid gets to college. Usually that would need to be a score of 3, 4, or 5. Okay. All right. So the purpose is really to get some experience in the rigor of a college level class, so that when you get to college, you are not so surprised by the amount of time required and the amount of effort required to do well. It's a great way to develop your skills, your time management skills, your study skills, most critically asking for help, talking to the teacher, going to office hours, making sure that you are getting support where you need it. Let's see, Mr. Kubo, are you moving the slides around? Let's see. Okay. Yes. So again, all about understanding workload of a college level class. Additionally, that critical thinking and the problem solving skills, that's where these AP classes really challenge the students to show themselves and develop. And it's a nice introduction to really getting on board so that when you get to college, you're ready to go, do well. All right. So expectations, if you're a student in an AP class, it doesn't mean you have to be 100% ready to succeed in college. It means you're curious about what it will take to succeed in college, and you're willing to put in the time and the patience to figure this out, to figure out what works for you. We do expect you to be able to read, write, and think critically. When we say at a college level, that means, approaching a college level. So being open to developing that skill set. Most of our AP classes is about an hour homework per night. Um, and ultimately, the class content will help prepare you for this AP test at the end. So it's not required, but it's encouraged to take the AP test at the end of the class, well, in the spring in May, because you will be prepared by taking it, by doing well, and engaging in the work. AP tests also, to note, they don't have any. If you don't pass, it's not going to impact your college eligibility, your college admissions. It's okay not to pass. So we always encourage students to take the test. So some concerns we hear as counselors, especially as the year starts to get going, we notice students that take on APs sometimes report stress and anxiety. And that's the purpose of this presentation, because we want you to make sure you're assessing your schedule, you're assessing your ability to focus and commit to your academics, and mostly that you're not juggling too much, because we see the anxiety, we see the stress, we see the burnout. We've seen integrity violations because students sometimes think they need to get to that desperate place of not being prepared and feeling like they need to perform for an AP class. It's critical that you sit down with even write out your day, thinking about, oh, I play baseball and I have morning commute. I bike for 30 minutes to get to school, and I have 2 AP classes. So if each AP class is an hour of homework per night, there's 2 hours right there, but I don't get home till 7. So what about my other classes? So really trying to think ahead and estimate what your schedule is going to look like for next year. So we encourage students to take the AP classes that they're interested in, the subject that they're interested in. If you want to become an engineer, it is not critical that you take AP European history. It's more critical that you take an advanced math or science class. And so even though you may be interested and you may do very well in an AP history class, you would want to prioritize the classes that are more relevant to what your interests are and what your goals are. So if you're thinking right now, well, I think I can manage 1 to 2 APs or 1 AP, but I'm interested in 3 or 4, prioritize based on your interest and what your goals are and which ones best support those. I know we mentioned sleep in every presentation because it's critical and it's an ongoing, never-ending issue that teenagers, we know, struggle to get enough sleep. So 9 hours is recommended. Take that into account when you would need to go to bed in order to wake up to get to school on time. Do the AP tests, or do the AP classes fit in that schedule? So most of our AP classes will have some sort of summer prep work. That'll all be on our website. Usually in May, we upload the summer assignments, and English classes will have that, but for the AP classes, there's typically some prep work to do as well. We expect students to go to every class, so no skipping on classes. Hopefully nobody's doing that anyway, but it's really critical. And if you do miss a class, because of course that's going to happen, that communication with the teacher. So either saying, hello, Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so, I'm going to be gone this day, or I was gone this day. What do I need to know from that class that I missed? Should I reach out to a peer? Should I talk to you? So taking on that responsibility of communicating with your teacher and peers. It's going to be a lot more content. So taking notes and learning how to take notes, not just in class, but from what you're reading, how to make study guides. These are all essential in college. And this is what the AP's classes are really preparing you for. So if you haven't taken an AP like that European history class, for example, but you've taken our World Studies 2 class, it's going to be like World Studies 2, but a lot more content. So a lot more to read and process and understand and communicate about. So be consistent, work hard, set a schedule for yourself. We are not very big fans of procrastination because as counselors, we see how poorly that typically goes. Even if you're able to pull things off and pull through and make it work, it's not worth the stress. It's not worth holding on to the feeling that you know you're putting it off. It's not a good feeling. We all do it, even adults do it. You know you're putting something off. Ugh. So just keep a schedule, keep yourself consistent, and ask for help if you need it. So families, what we encourage is to talk about all these things that we're talking about right now. So even after this meeting, talking to your student about, okay, well, let's actually sit down and look at your commitments for next year and how many will an AP make sense for you? What kind of support would you need? If you're looking at taking an advanced English class, knowing that we have a writing center at school, we have our teachers 4 days a week ready to tutor to help students with their writing. And we also have a separate tutoring center. We have peer tutor, teacher tutor, lots of supports on campus. And hopefully we'll be back at school in the fall. We aren't sure, we don't know, but that's what we're planning for. So all those tutoring centers will be up and running, at least virtually. So help your students create a nice environment to get work done. Studying on the bed is popular, but it is not the best place because it's easy to fall asleep. It's easy to get distracted. It's easy to look out the window. No, but it is important to have a place where you can study that's quiet and you're able to focus. Another key thing families can do is talk to your student throughout the semester about how they're doing. Like how's that AP class going? Is it stressful or is it hard to keep up? You can always help them problem solve if issues do arise, which they will, because not just in AP classes, but all classes have difficulties, especially with the communicating with teachers, misunderstandings, feeling like there's too much work. Help your student learn how to navigate these situations. And like I said, we have all those, the writing center, the tutoring centers, communicating with teachers. We're available for students to reach out to if they're not sure how to get help, if they want to just bounce some ideas off us, if they want to look at doing a schedule change. We do have time at the beginning of the year, at the beginning of each semester to look at level changes too. So just if you feel stuck, you can always reach out to your counselor. And then Star Vista, on campus, we have some mental health clinicians that are available to help students that are struggling with stress, anxiety related to school or related to home life, related to anything that's causing some troubles. So again, MA has a lot of supports for your student, and just reach out. So still not completely sure. Here's some things to think about. Things like, what is my work ethic? What is my priority? How many extracurriculars am I doing? What do I want? Do I know what I want to major in if I go to college? And if I do, does this AP help support that? Or maybe I don't, but this AP sounds interesting and it may help, it may turn into a major, who knows? So just really thinking about all the different aspects before taking an AP, making sure you're choosing the right one and not taking on too much. The other thing I didn't mention is we do have a waiver process. So if a student isn't necessarily recommended to take an AP, either from their current course grade or their teacher, we do have a system where families can waiver that recommendation, say we're going to take this, the student's going to take the class regardless. And that is always going to be an option. Just note that sometimes those recommendations are there just from our experience and from what we've seen, and it can be, they aren't taken lightly. So if your student's not recommended for a class, but you want to take it in the fall, think about summer supports, think about some sort of prep work, getting a tutor, and talk to the counselor just to make sure you're not getting into something that is going to be too much. Here's the counselors. I'm on the left, and the breakdowns are listed in this chart. The ninth graders have a different caseload alpha than the 10th through 12th graders. And thank you to the foundation. As always, they generously support our counseling office. They fund 2 of our 8 counselors. So we would have much larger caseloads, meaning we would get to know your students less than we currently do. We have more time to spend on each student. So thank you to the foundation for that. And now we are going to get to some frequently asked questions with Mr. Kubo. So I'm going to hand the controls over to him. You are muted.
Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry about the technical difficulties on that one. Every time I push the button, I'm sorry, Ms. Searles, that was my fault. Every time I push the button, it would change, and I'm trying to unmute myself, and I couldn't. So my apologies, folks. So good evening. So my name's Jason Kubo, one of the guidance counselors, one of the counselors, and I take care of last names of students with T through Z. I'm going to go over some of our most frequently asked questions in regards to AP classes, and this might be maybe the more technical side of things for students or questions that you may have. I'm going to try to move my cursor so that I can actually see the question, so bear with me. First question is, do students receive an extra grade point for taking an AP class? Okay, it worked. Nice. I'm gonna try this too. Okay, that worked. Okay, now I'm back on. Do students receive an extra grade point for taking an AP class? Answer is yes and no. All right, so let me explain that the extra grade point or the weighted point is only given for students that earn grades of an A, B, or C in that AP course. Students do not receive the extra grade point if they earn a D or an F. So a lot of times we get that question of, hey, so if I earn a B, is that kind of like getting an A in the regular class? And in terms of grade point average, that is correct. Okay, you will get the extra grade bump, but again, only if it's an A, B, or C. Getting a D in an AP class is not getting a C in a regular class, all right? So you do not get the extra grade point for that. Another question, can my students earn college credit for their AP class? Answer, yes and no. So some colleges will give students credit while others may not. And it's really college dependent, all right? If a college offers credits for the student's AP class, they'll most likely use their AP exam score. So, you know, the weight and the college credit are definitely things to consider, I think, when you're taking a look at this. But like Ms. Searles was saying, we're taking a look at more of a holistic approach, and this shouldn't be like the factor, the driving thing to say like, I gotta take that class because I gotta get college credit. We really want students to make mindful decisions when choosing their courses. Yes, it could be a benefit to earn college credit, or maybe going into college not having to take a class, but that's not always the case. So when the time is right and you're researching some colleges, you can look up if the school will give students credit or not for a particular AP class or AP exam score. Next question. Are some AP classes more difficult than others? Answer, yes, definitely. AP courses vary in difficulty, but the most important factor is the student. And as you can see, we're very student focused on this. So let me explain that. Some students that are math wizards, might take something like AP Stats or maybe AP Calculus and find those courses to be not too difficult. And that's because they get it. Versus a student that's maybe not so math savvy, they might go into an AP math class and find that class difficult. So, really, the most important factor, as I said, is the student in understanding the difficulty of how that class might pertain to them. Now, it is good to do some research in regards to maybe what am I going to be learning about in this AP class? And this is where I got to move my little thing here. And then this is where I come in. And there's a lot of great resources for this. The first one would be the course comparison chart. And this can be found on our web site. And if you look down here, you'll be able to find different course comparison charts that have descriptors regarding the AP classes or the AS classes. What does it look like? Oh, let me move this here. Oh my goodness. And it will look like something like this, where students and parents can look into these course descriptions and really get into the details of what someone might be studying, typical reading for an AP language class, and even some sample readings. So my advice is if you're not sure of the course and the different levels that it may have, go to the website, look at the course comparison charts. All right. Another good resource for students to understand what is involved in an AP class could be the College Board website, where you're going to be looking up content. And this is a page that you might see where this is AP Art History. It goes into very specific details of what you will be studying. So going back to that, is this something that I want to learn? Is this something that I'm interested in? Is this something that I'm willing to take on? Well, let me find out like what information am I going to be required to learn? And the AP classes really focus on the AP exam and the content. So basically, you're getting a preview of what will be discussed. On the College Board website, you'll also note that it goes into like some of the AP sample questions and things like that. So just by going to this website here, again, you'll be much more familiar with what the course will offer. Lastly, course difficulty that I didn't put on here, another excellent resource is your teachers. Feel free to talk to your current teachers about a potential AP class, maybe an AP class that you're going to be moving into or something that you're considering. Teachers can offer really good advice. Teachers can offer really good recommendations. Teachers can offer really good or provide really good content in those AP classes. So course comparison charts, College Board, talking to teachers, hopefully will give the student a better idea of kind of like what they're going to be jumping themselves into. All right. Next question. I got to move my little window here. My student is struggling in their AP class. Can they level down to a non-AP class? So again, sometimes maybe a student will jump into a course, realize like, wow, this might be a little bit more than I wanted. Can they level down to a non-AP class? And the answer is yes and no. So it's only going to be a yes if there is a lower level course. Okay, so for example, AP Statistics to regular statistics. AP Statistics has a lower level course in statistics, and so it is possible for a student to level down. However, level changes are not guaranteed. All right. So when we're going into switching classes or courses, we have to be sure that it fits with the student's schedule. We have to be sure that there's space available. Okay. And keep in mind that a level change could also result in maybe shuffling a student's schedule around, which is why we try our best to get the courses right the first time, because we don't want students having to have a level change or having their schedule shuffled around to just fit, a regular course. Now, if they have to, sure, it is available if it is available. The answer could also be no if the course does not have a lower level course. So, for example, AP Art History, where there is no regular art history course for a student to level into. Therefore, their options would be to stay in AP Art History or drop the class altogether. Okay, here is a list of courses where level changes are not possible. Okay, so AP Art History, AP Biology, AP Calculus A, B, and BC, AP Chemistry, AP Computer Science, Principles in Java, AP Environmental Science, AP Chinese, Latin, Spanish, and French. So these courses do not have a lower level course for students to go into. All right. How can a student make up a D or F grade in an AP class? So if a student struggles, maybe gets a D or an F, how can they make that class up? Answer, majority of the students need to make up an AP class outside of MA. We don't have AP classes in summer school. We don't offer that during summer school. So students will oftentimes look for a class that's offered outside of MA. But it is difficult to find some of these programs for that will be equivalent to an AP course or an AP course. So ideally, again, we try not to get ourselves into this situation. I'm sure nobody wants to take the AP course for a second time, so do their best to pass it the first time. Keep in mind, if you have to make up an AP class outside of MA, you have to follow the district's concurrent enrollment policy, okay? And that's basically getting the approval to take that class outside of MA. Oh, I like this question. This is one of my favorites. Is it better for my student to earn a B in an AP course or an A in the college prep course? We've been doing this for many years now. This is always one of my favorite questions. And it's again, well, let's go to the answer. It really depends on the student. Some students are completely fine earning a B in an AP class, while others prefer the A in the regular college prep class. And a good example, of this would be, my son who's interested in taking AP biology, which is great. And I want him to take that class, to have that nice enriching experience, to be challenged, to, see what maybe a college level class is like. And that's something that he wants to study later on down the line, but is not so much interested in history, so is going to elect to take just the regular US history class and is totally fine saying, hey, I don't need the AP class. I'm fine if I get an A in the regular class. But I will be challenging myself, and I'm be okay if I get a B in the AP bio class. It really is dependent on the student. Now, some students, don't want to see, a B on their transcript, or a little worried about that. Then maybe just the regular college prep class is completely fine. Uh, it's really one of those things where the student should have that conversation with their counselor. I think taking an AP class, can be good. I think getting a B in the AP class is not bad. You're going to be challenged. You're going to prepare yourself. You're going to get some really good deep learning. You get a little bit of a preview, and you get to work on a bunch of different things. So if it's the only AP class, then I might be saying, yeah, go for it. It's okay. It's okay. But it really depends on the student, and sometimes just their overall makeup. Now, in regards to this, parents can definitely help out, and parents, your student best, and that's where I think maybe some of that guidance, if they're not sure of what they want to do, taking all these things that Miss Searles, has spoke about in regards to the holistic approach of like, hey, should we take an AP class? Well, let's consider, what are we doing outside of school? Let's consider what our other classes are going to be like. let's consider, are we interested in the subject matter? Is that something that we really want to do and learn, knowing that these are year-long courses? If it's a course that you have no interest in and you're just taking it just to take it, and you're going home and you're working hard on this every day for a full year, sometimes that could be quite exhausting. So it's really, helping your students kind of come up with that decision. If you're not sure yourself, have your student, talk to their guidance counselor, and take a look at everything that's involved. Additional questions. So at this time, I'm going to open it up to Miss Sandora, who's in the chat, I think, and Miss Searles, who's in the chat with her, to find out if there are any questions that are coming in through the Q&A that I might be able to answer, and I'll do my best to help out. I don't see any of the questions, so you're gonna have to kind of just.
I see one in the chat. Somebody's asking, what is the difference between an AS class versus an AP class?
Oh, great question. So the AS class is an honors class. Now, the AS class doesn't have the AP tag on it. So when you're looking at course content, you're really looking at the AP class and what it will cover there. That's going to be the driving force of those AP classes. Kind of going back to that information in regards to the College Board, the level information in regards to the different levels of maybe English 3, AS English 3, and AP Language, where content is going to be different throughout the course. Some honors courses do offer the extra grade point, but not all honors courses do. Some honors courses will prepare students potentially for an AP class. So that's a great class where if you're thinking about maybe taking an AP class later on down the line, if you're thinking about maybe taking AP language in your junior year, yeah, maybe looking at AS English 2 to prepare for the AP language class there. I would definitely direct you to the website that I showed you, and we'll put this up on our MA website so that you have these links, but taking a look at the course descriptions. So honor classes, some of them do give the extra grade point. AP classes, all AP classes give the extra grade point, again, with a grade of A, B, or C, right? And they really teach to the AP exam, AP content. Hello there, Mr. Luscoot. We have our instructional vice principal who has also joined us for tonight's presentation. Anything else, Ms. Rose?
We don't have any other questions, but feel free, we'll stay on a few more minutes. If anybody wants to type something in, we will be here to respond.
Okay, I think I'm gonna move on to the next slide here.
Okay.
All right. So the goal here, the goal is we definitely want our students, your child, to learn as much as possible. We want them to also be successful. I think the counseling office in general, the idea, is to help develop, good students out there, citizens out there. We want them to understand work ethic, and we want them to work hard and give them the opportunity to build those skills, right? And the goal is also to support them. So, if they are in an AP class or any class in general, parents, feel free to remind your students, hey, reach out to your counselor, all right? Reach out to your counselor, because we do want to support them, and we feel that it's important for them to be successful. But at the same time, the goal as well is to keep them balanced and not put them in unhealthy situations. So if there is a time where you feel like, gosh, I really don't know, I mean, do we do this or do we not? Take a look at those things that we discussed in terms of doing the research. It does help. It really does help. And before making that final decision, okay? Also, I'm going to go to the next screen here, is the next steps here. Another good thing to look at when making this decision is, I'm just going to skip to this middle one right here where it says summer preparation. Visit the MA website for summer work. So AP courses do have some summer work, and taking a look at what the summer work is could also help maybe, you know, uh, better inform you in terms of, do I really want to take on this class? The summer work is very important. If you know your summer is loaded and you don't have time to get through some of the summer work, therein line might be your answer. I mean, it's very important for students to get through this work, uh, and understand some of the material before jumping into the class. So if you want, the next steps here would be to make a final decision on all courses by April 15th. As a parent, you probably should have received an email discussing or outlining your students' choices for next year. Within that email, there is a link for you to request a change. So feel free to click on that link if you're deciding to maybe jump into an AP course or maybe jump out of an AP course and request that change. And then lastly, 11th grade college information night. And I know, sometimes these AP courses, you know, correlate with, colleges and those decisions and things like that. So 11th grade college information night will be happening next week. So be sure to sign up for that webinar. Anything else, Ms. Searles? Any other questions jumping in? Or Mr. Luskut, do you have anything to say in regards to AP courses? Mr. Luskut's our instructional vice principal. Oh, you're muted, Mr. Luskut.
You've probably already covered it, Mr. Kubo, but I would just say typically AP courses are great experiences where I think you can really learn a lot, but you have to be focused and willing to work hard as a student. And you got to think about kind of just how you're balancing everything that you're doing, because we just see too many kids try to do too much.
Yeah, no more questions in the chat. So
Okay.
that's it.
0 questions from the sender. Okay, so I think that, yep. So that concludes our presentation for tonight. If you do have questions, if it's specific questions related to your student, again, reach out to your student's counselor. Again, final decisions by April 15th. You should have received an email outlining your student's course request for next year. On that email, there is a link to request a change. And that's it. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Everyone.